Hello everyone, I'm Rachel and I welcome you all to the Executive Corner Expert Talks. Today I'm with Zaki Ameer. Zaki is the founder of Dream Design Property. Now Dream Design Property is a full-service property investment consultancy firm, now in the 10th year of its operation. Here at Kalkine we bring you industry leaders, successful business owners, market and equity advocates all under one roof to help you discover the insights of the stock markets and help you understand how you can create multiple passive income streams. Welcome to Zaki Ameer.
Thanks, Rachel, for having me.
Good to chat with you today. Now, first of all, Zaki, could you tell me about Dream Design Property and your inspiration behind launching the brand?
Well, being in Australia now for over 20 years, I came here as an international student to do university, and finishing uni, I joined one of Australia's major banks for about 10 years in finance. And I guess learning all the different bits and pieces about finance and wealth in Australia, was always looking for opportunities to get ahead in creating wealth in the new country that I'd migrated to now some 20 years ago. So I was introduced to real estate at a small networking function, and one of the guys there, had over 25 properties, and he himself was an international student living in Sydney, and I just questioned what it was all about, and I guess that's what kind of opened my eyes on is real estate a vehicle to getting ahead or creating passive income or other wealth streams, and in fact what he told me was he was buying real estate for values of approximately $150,000 to $200,000, and this is in Sydney only about 13, 14 years ago. And you'd be surprised to even hear of properties of $150,000 in Sydney when the average price now is approximately $1.2 million. And that's how much has changed in the last 12, 13 years. So I was inspired to do it for myself, so I got into real estate in around 2008. And I just started buying multiple properties around Sydney on the cheaper end of the market as opposed to the higher end of the market. I was looking for properties that weren't in the best conditions and probably not in the best areas, but had a vision for hope. And over those 3 years, back about 13, 14 years ago, I ended up purchasing 15 properties, averaging approximately about 200 to 250,000. And as such, from that journey came all sorts of different, clienteles and contacts about how I had done it, and for me to help them, mentor them, and guide them into building a property investment portfolio. And such, I started Dream Design Property, or in short, DDP Property, now on its 10th year, helping over about 2,000 clients.
That's phenomenal, and it's very interesting what you're doing there. Now, in terms of capital growth, property investment might not have the speed of return that, say, crypto or stocks have. But in terms of delivering consistent results over time, real estate is a good option. What's your take on this?
So things have changed definitely even over the last 10 years, especially with social media and me starting my business also. So crypto, and I guess there's a lot of high income or high yield schemes around where you can make quick cash or liquid cash. But I think there's two different distincting strategies, one being liquidity or high yielding strategies, or the other one, like you mentioned, being capital growth or growth strategies. And it all depends where you are in life. I find that if the younger you are, in my perspective, I would personally focus on more growth strategies, as opposed to when you're older in life or heading towards whenever you decide retirement, is when you'd focus on an income strategy or liquid strategy, which is more where the crypto space is, or even the share markets or various forms of investing and so on. But the difference in real estate, I guess the reason I'm still attracted to it, is the concept of leverage, of using other people's money or other people's time, which is basically the banks or the lenders. I mean, in my view, in terms of real estate, it's the only type of asset where you could go to a lender and borrow up to 95% or 5% of a deposit. And as we know, there's a mortgage on it, and the person who really owns the asset is the lender or the bank until you've paid off that mortgage. So the risk really lies, using my banking background, with the lender or the bank. And if a bank or lender is willing to lend you 95% of an asset, that means you just need 5% as a deposit. And when I was starting about 13, 14 years ago, that was approximately about $8,000, $9,000 as a deposit. given the current market in 2021, you probably still need about $35,000 to $40,000 to get into a property. The thing we've got to realize is it's not about buying property where you live, where maybe the properties are worth $1.5 million upwards. It's also for looking at other areas that give you the opportunity to get in with a $30,000 investment, but yet you've got the capital growth, which on average is approximately 5 to 7% of the entire asset value, which might be $400,000, but you only got in with about $35,000. So the growth will be far greater, in my view, if you look at the historical prices of, say, Sydney or Melbourne, than what you would gain in going for like a crypto type of strategy, which is just an instant gain, which you may also lose out, like gambling, if you stayed in the wrong time of the market.
Absolutely. And Zaki, could you elaborate on the strategies that you do employ to help clients create that kind of financial freedom?
Yeah, given we're a one-stop shop and we partner with various different service providers, so the different types of strategies can be a capital growth strategy, which I mentioned. So it can be in a high growth area of be it Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane or Adelaide. We're also looking into Perth market, as you know, Perth WA market has also gone up. So that is one type of growth strategy. You can implement negative gearing if you're a high income taxpayer, to kind of, get some tax rebates back through depreciation or some of the losses you claim. So that's one type of strategy. The next strategy, of course, is an income strategy. And in terms of income strategies, which is where rental yields are high, we look at dual income strategies, or the NDIS, which is the National Disability Scheme, where you might get extra rent given by the government, or the NRAS strategy, which is for the National Rental Affordability. That's for low-income earners, where the state governments might rebate you an additional amount of rent, which generates high yielding. We also do co-living, or version of boarding houses, which basically it's a completed home where you've got multiple lease agreements, where you may end up purchasing something for, say, $500,000 in a metropolitan area, but the rental income is $900 a week. And lastly, where we've noticed also a DDP is an increase in clients setting up their self-managed super funds, or SMSFs. I guess a lot of clients during COVID, or even before that, the GFC, lost a lot of their super money during the downfall. And so people tend to, when they lose money kind of in the share market, they tend to look into bricks and mortars, being real estate. And so not many know that you can actually get into superannuation or buy a property with super if it's right for you. And we put you in touch with financial advisors, accountants, to see if that's the most appropriate strategy. You can actually get in with a combined balance of over $100,000 in your super, and that might allow you to buy a $400,000 property. So there's various different avenues to real estate. There's no one type of strategy that is suited for all clients, and depending on where the client's at, along with our partners, we guide them through the journey of what's right for them in achieving their financial goals.
And just finally there, Zaki, do you believe with your expertise that you can help everyday Australians transform into property millionaires?
Well, I guess I'm the first example, coming to Australia just over 20 years as a student and doing it for myself and creating wealth through property and then helping everyday Australians. So it's really a passion-driven business. So I started with about $25,000. And so nowadays you can start with about $35,000, $40,000. And we've also got a partnership with another company called Bricklet, and that if for any reason that the client may not have, even the 25, 30,000, now there's a possibility to get a chance into owning a fragment of a property, legal ownership, for about $15,000 to $20,000, just to get into the ladder of home ownership or owning your investment property. So I believe our target market is the masses of the everyday Australians, just like me, helping them create wealth and giving them choices and options.
It's been really fascinating chatting with you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Rachel.
And with that, I'll sign off for now. Watch this space for more. Till then, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.